neighbor, welcome back to Beyond AR TV. My name is John, and today I'm going to be reacting to a list that Pitchfork put together. If you're not familiar with Pitchfork, which you probably are, they're kind of notorious for having some inflammatory comments and reviews over the past 25 years that they've existed, and now they put together their own list since they recently turned 25 for the 200 most influential artists of their first 25 years. According to their site, they have almost 20,000 dedicated artist pages on Pitchfork for people that they've covered in the span of 25 years. So we're taking it all the way back in time to 1996 when they launched in an underground basement writing up reviews of artists, and it turned into a very big thing. They have their own festival at this point. And while I have respect for a lot of what they've done, I also just disagree with them so vehemently so many times that I don't know how much I'm gonna agree with this list, but you guys wanted me to take a look at it, so that's exactly what we're gonna do. Pitchfork decided to break up this list in sections, so we're just gonna be looking at the top 50, the most essential artists, and if you would like to see me look at the other 150 in some way, let me know in the comments, because that could be a very, very long video, and we simply don't have time for all of that. Before we get started, take a second to hit that like button, dim the lights, grab some popcorn because this might take a while. It's the top 200 most influential artists of the past 25 years, according to Pitchfork. Animal Collective are definitely expected for Pitchfork. They are pretty much poster boys for what Pitchfork was about, especially in their earlier days. I mean, just the indie movement in general throughout the 2000s and the 2010s. Not massive on them, but I understand their importance. Aphex Twin made the cut. I can see why Richard D is here, absolutely. As somebody who didn't get into his works until more like 2014, 2015, and still, I'm by no means even close to being an aficionado on his stuff. I like what I hear, and he is absolutely a pioneer in many ways for electronic music. Finally, a bit of a wavering opinion, a difference between me and Pitchfork here and many other publications. Of course, Arcade Fire. They're right up the alley for Pitchfork. I can never really get into them all that much. Bad Bunny is one of the most important artists of the past 25 years, according to them. And I would not agree with that at all. He's only been active for like the past 5, maybe a little bit longer, but in a mainstream sense, especially worldwide, even less. And while I think he's better than, say, Luis Fonsi or maybe even Daddy Yankee, that's not saying a ton. His music is pretty generic a lot of the time. Beyonce, of course, that's a given. You know that she's going to make the cut, and deservedly so. Again, if we're ranking this just based on importance, even if I don't like the music all of the time, I'm trying to kind of check that part of my ego at the door, because Beyonce is Beyonce, and Lemonade is a fantastic album. Bjork definitely makes sense, another artist that I need to get into more. You've got Bon Iver, an artist that I have never particularly felt engaged with in many ways, but I appreciate his contributions to music, and even what he did on both of Taylor Swift's Folklore and Evermore. Those were fantastic moments, and it shows how much Justin's voice can really sell something. D'Angelo definitely makes sense. I remember there being so much hype when he returned with Black Messiah a few years back, and just the formative years of Pitchfork between this and the next one that they have here, Daft Punk, it really makes sense because that kind of coincided with Pitchfork getting off the ground, and of course Daft Punk or fucking Daft Punk. After a few that I'm not really familiar with, we have Drizzy Drake, because again, of course, you can't really say he's one of the best, and I don't necessarily think that Pitchfork are saying that, but it is kind of implied when you say important, and I wish that he hadn't been as important as he was, because I feel that while there's been positive impacts to the hip-hop and rap scene because of Drake, there's also been a lot of negative ones, including like these album bomb tactics and the fact that these overly bloated stream trolling records are just pushed out without a ton of thought behind them. They're just running up the numbers to run them up. I'm so tired of Drake. Earl Sweatshirt, absolutely. Haven't fucked with everything, but I got hooked after I don't like shit, I don't go outside. Fiona Apple, yeah baby, that's what I'm talking about. When I sat down and started thinking about what would maybe be on this list, Fiona was something that I thought and hoped that we would agree on, so here's me and Pitchfork right in the middle, finally shaking hands. Frank Ocean is absolutely a very important and in many ways iconic figure for like the R&B movement that kind of birthed itself in the late 2000s, early 2010s. I mean, Channel Orange, I think, was 2012. And once Frank kind of allowed himself to be more expressive with his sexuality too, I think it opened doors for a lot of people, not just with his music, but with his personality. Basically, I just really like that he's kind of shrouded in mystery. Like, you don't always know what's going on there, and a lot of people give too much away now, and Frank kind of pulls back. Future is somebody that I have a lot of thoughts on, and they're not positive thoughts, but I will, I guess, give him credit for the fact that he kind of paved the groundwork for all of these other auto-tuned rappers that had that kind of crooning, kind of fast-talking, you don't exactly know what they're saying, but hey, it's popular type of thing. Well, regardless of how you feel about Grimes' billionaire partner, I think that credit where it's due. I miss stuff like the early days, Oblivion, and even an album like Art Angels that really grew on me. I do think that she's kind of changed and has lost some focus, and I don't feel that her music is all that strong, at least not compared to what she laid down, but influential, important, absolutely. Jay Dilla is on the list, and in the little blurb that they have written under here, it talks about how Jay Dilla basically had his own subgenre, and that's true. I had some of my cousins that were really into Jay Dilla back in the day, and it's definitely something that I agree with in terms of importance. There's Jay-Z, we all knew that one was coming, no surprises there, and then you've got Joanna Newsom, somebody that I respect, I absolutely do, but I also don't know a ton of. Kamasi Washington is an artist that you probably heard of, especially if you're like in the indie circles. Everybody was raving about The Epic a few years back when it released. I just know myself, I don't have the attention span for like 3-hour plus albums. I don't even have the attention span for like a 2-hour album. So while I couldn't do it, I've heard some of his work and some of the stuff that he's featured on, and that's great. He's a great instrumentalist. Well, there's Kanye. It's undeniable. Of course, he's going to make this list, regardless of how I or anybody else feels about him. Important, absolutely. As a producer, as a rapper, as a personality. I honestly thought that was a picture of Katy Perry at first because we're in the KAs, but nope, this is actually somebody that I don't think I really know. I mean, I recognize the name The Knife, but that's not Katy Perry. It's Kendrick Lamar, K. Kung Fu Kenny. He made the cut, of course, because Kendrick is my favorite rapper personally. But not only that, I just feel that he's so integral to what happened in hip-hop and the more conscious movement that happened in the 2010s. I kind of hate that this is in alphabetical order because we go from Kendrick to Lana Del Rey. Because, oh boy, I have so many conflicting thoughts on Lana because she's clearly capable of making strong, entertaining personalities, music, and I just often feel like she misuses that. But again, it boils down to personal preference, and Lana has been very prevalent during Pitchfork's active years for like the past 15 almost. Guess it based on the photo, I think you already know. It's James Murphy and LCD Sound System. Yes, sirree, Bob. Why did I just say yes sirree, Bob? I never say that, I'm sorry. LCD Sound System are amazing. Moving right along, we go to Lil Wayne. Yeah, Wayne was just everywhere. It was Wayne's World for a while. I mean, he was featured on like every big song. His albums, like the Carter series, was huge, so yeah, regardless of his miscues, misfires, rebirth, or I am not a human being too, whatever, he's still extremely important, and I honestly have a lot of nostalgia for much of his music. MF Doom, R.I.P. R.I.P. Missy Elliott, you gonna make me lose control? Put out another album, please! Okay, we go from the OG to the OG. Really? Why must we give Nicki Minaj more attention? What was that? What was that about big balls and Trinidad, Nicki? Oh wait, I think it's my turn. I think it's time I put this testy on your sideburn. You can just already tell from the hat we're creeping up. It's Andre 3000 and Big Boy in Outkast. Yeah, baby, absolutely. This is a dynamic duo that I wish would make more music, but also it's one of those things for me, it's almost like one of my favorite bands like My Chemical Romance, that I am glad that they were a thing, that they existed, but also it was at a special point in time where if they came back and put out new stuff now, I just don't know if they'd be able to recapture the magic. Radiohead, of course, Tom York and company. You cannot have a list of important artists during the past 25 years and not include them for their experimentation, for their forward thinking, for what they've done for rock and even electronic and underground music, the bands that they've gone on to influence. It's just absolutely insane. Rihanna, take a bow. Absolutely, this woman deserves to be here. I mean, she was putting out an album like every year with bangers and so many singles that just dominated the charts. She deserves to be here, and I hope that she puts out new music soon. Is that Pink? No, that's not Pink. That's Robin. Wow, that was probably so offensive to so many people. At first I saw Blonde and I was like, see ya, and then I was like, no, Pink, and then no, it's Robin, because this is Pitchfork. Did I forget where I am? That's not a slam on Robin at all. Of course, Robin, very important. I don't have a special, connection or tether to her music, but I've enjoyed her outside of the feature that she did on the Lord album. Slater Kenny, yes, absolutely. Where's my signed poster? I have it. Hold on. I don't have it out in my background anymore, but absolutely, baby. Signed by all three members at that time. But you see, the problem now is that they kicked out Janet fucking Weiss. You don't do that. Or was she basically forced to leave because they weren't allowing her to creatively contribute? I don't know. Either way, Janet's out. I'm not exactly invested anymore. Sophie, oh my god, I completely forgot. I don't know how I forgot. We've just lost so many special people in music, even ones that it's one of those things where you sit down and you're like, even if I didn't necessarily love everything this artist was doing, I appreciate the innovation and I see the creative spark that they had. And Sophie passing away after a tragic accident, just wow. R.I.P. to another one on this list that's no longer here. The Strokes, yeah! I didn't think they would actually do it because, I don't know, Pitchfork, elitism, but the Strokes are here, and I have been on a Strokes bender recently. Maybe it's just me, but I've been watching all of their old performances, like the MTV $2 bill performance, and even some recent stuff like the festival that they played out in 2021. They're so talented, man. The new Abnormal was fantastic all the way back to Is This It? And albums like Come Down Machine, they grew on me. I don't know, there's something special about them. The fact that Julian Casablancas just seems like he doesn't give a fuck, but also continues to make music with his band that's so effective. Tame Impala, Kevin Parker, of course, one of the goats of the modern age, 21st century music. I mean, it's really only been since 2010 that he's been putting out stuff and getting attention, and from Inner Speaker to Lonerism, and of course the super huge albums like Currents, which you see right there in the background, and of course the most recent album, The Slow Rush. All mesmerizing, mind-bending music, and his kind of neo-psychedelic pop take has influenced so many other people, and I'm kind of happy to see him producing for other people, including Lady Gaga, and some artists that I'm not as keen on, like Lil Yachty, but whatever. The crossovers, if that's what it takes to get more music out of Kevin, then so be it. Taylor Swift, the biggest artist in the world, of course. You can't have the list without her. We already talked about her a little bit when I was mentioning Bon Iver, and of course the features that he did on Folklore and Evermore. And her artistic range is just incredible. The ambition behind what she does, re-recording her albums. I mean, what? Is that Tyler the Creator? Yeah, it is. That's Tyler the Creator, and that is another impeccable choice on Pitchfork's end. I am definitely finding myself agreeing with more of these than I don't, because Tyler, of course, has had such an awesome evolution from the earlier days that I kind of find a little bit cringy with just how shock value driven he was, to the likes of Flower Boy and Igor and Call Me If You Get Lost. I mean, that is a melting pot of everything he's ever done. So yes, absolutely, Tyler the Creator, one of the most important artists of the past 25 years. Vampire Weekend, well, would you look at that? Of course they're gonna be here, and that's another one where me and Pitchfork just kind of collide right in the middle. We are on the same page with that, except for Father of the Bride. I couldn't really get behind that one all that much, but the innovation that these boys have shown, just incredible stuff. The White Stripes, yeah! Yes, I didn't know if they did it, but you did it, you crazy sons of bitches at Pitchfork, you fucking did it. Jack White in general just belongs on this list in many capacities, but the White Stripes, just the burning bright star that they were for like a decade in time, it's magical. Wilco are of course an indie rock band that deserve the shout. I haven't really been able to get into them outside of Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, but that's again just probably a me thing. I find a lot of their stuff rather tedious, but Wilco are definitely important both to the indie and the rock sphere. We're gonna stop there for now. That was Pitchfork's 50 most important, like the top of the top, the creme de la creme of the most important artists of the past 25 years since their inception. I appreciate you watching my reaction to this list. If you have any thoughts on my thoughts, then let me know in the comments. And if you do want to see me do the other 150, the less essential but still important in some way artists that they featured, then let me know that in a comment too. Outside of that, please hit the like button. More videos on screen now, and I'll be back soon with more on Beyond AR TV.